Another plugin which has recently come out, which is not a must-have, but will set you apart from other streamers because it's not very popular. I don't think it's very well known. It would be popular if it was well known, is the freeze filter plugin. And what this plugin does is it freezes any source that you have in place for a certain amount of time. It's really, really effective and looks really cool. So here is the filter itself. It's the freeze filter 0.3.2 at the moment is the build. It's very, very easy to install, like you usually install plugins. It also has a Windows installer.exe file, which makes everything a lot easier. Once it's installed, you go to your OBS Studio, and this particular plugin is a filter. So we're not going to find it in our sources menu this time. We're going to add it as a filter to a pre-existing source. So my pre-existing source that I'm going to add it to is my C270 webcam. We'll say, welcome back to the C270, the rubbish C270. We're going to add the freeze filter to this webcam. And the way we do that is we right-click on video capture device, go to filters, and you'll see I've already got it here. Let me get rid of that. And we're going to do it from the very start. We're going to press plus and go to freeze. It should be here if you installed the plugin correctly. We're going to click freeze. Okay, and you'll see that my C270 webcam has completely frozen. Now, there's a load of settings here that we'll go through one by one. Just to start off with, though, we need to know how to activate and deactivate this freeze. One of the ways that you can do it just for the preview is by pressing this I button right here. If I click it off, the webcam is back. And if I smile and then click it on, the webcam is frozen again. So that is exactly what the filter does. It's extremely simple, but it is very, very effective. Now, what we want to do is associate this with a hotkey so that when I press a hotkey on my keyboard, it will freeze the webcam. So what I need to do is go down to action. I need to go to activate and put on enable freeze and deactivate and disable freeze. Now what this will do is it will open up a personal specific line to freeze filter in your hotkeys menu. So if we close that now, actually let's turn the freeze on. Let's make it at least a little bit interesting. Smile. There we go. So that's frozen. Now I'm going to go to my settings in OBS Studio and hotkeys, and as I scroll down, I should see where is our freeze filter setting. I can't remember where it goes to. Where does freeze filter go to? Activation, disable freeze and enable freeze. There we go. So we need to go down to our subtitle of video capture device. We need to find our source, and underneath that source, it will have all of the filters that you have applied to it, including freeze. If you've turned on the activation and deactivation settings, then these two lines will be right here. Remember from a previous tutorial that if they are starred and you hover over them and they both flash red, that means we can just apply one key to both filters and it will act as a toggle, an on or off toggle. So what I'm going to apply here is a control and down on my D-pad and control and down on disable freeze, and now control and down will act as an on or off toggle to turn that filter on or off. I don't need to have two different buttons to do that. So let's click apply. At the moment the freeze is on. If I click control and down, it's unfrozen. There we go, perfect. If I click control and down again, and there we go, it's frozen again. So that's how you program the hotkeys to the freeze filter so that you can just, as you're moving in stream, click that hotkey. Oh my word, that's attractive. And clicking it on and off and on and off. And it's really, really as simple as that. Now, you might want to, why would you want to use this on your stream? You might want to use it if you have like a crazy moment, like a what? And then you want your fans to, or viewers to react to your reaction. I don't know, whatever. There's so many uses for this freeze filter, but I think it's really cool. It should be noted, you can also apply it to video footage, to any media source, to any video source. Anything that moves, you can add this to. Even like a spectralizer source or a waveform. So yeah, really, really handy. Let's take a look at just a couple more of the settings of this filter. So we'll go to freeze. Now you'll see if I click control down, the eye turns on. I click control down again, the eye turns off. So we know that that's associated. What I can do is turn off the indefiniteness of the filter. So I can set this to freeze for just a certain amount of time. So if I want this to freeze for 5 seconds and then unfreeze, I put 5,000 milliseconds in, I click Control down, and it's frozen. 2, 3, 4, 5, and it should unfreeze like that. Did you see? Let's try again. So when I press Control down now, watch the eye. The eye goes on, 3, 4, 5, and then after 5 seconds, the eye turns off. It's really, really cool. So if you only want to freeze yourself for a certain amount of time and you don't want to have to toggle with the button, you can set these intervals and maximum durations. You can delay the start of the freeze. You can delay the end of the freeze as well. You can play around with these to get the perfect mix and match. Now, I'm going to set that back to 0 because I want it on permanently. This one here, the mask setting, basically crops the freeze from the sides and the tops of your image. So if I only want to freeze the left-hand side of the image, you see here, it will freeze the left-hand side of the image. If I turn it on, that is. There we go, we're on. You see here that it will freeze the left-hand side of the image. So I'm bringing that in to freeze the left. Now, if I want to freeze the right-hand side of the image, I bring in the right, the top, and the bottom as well. And there you have it. That's like a crop for the filter itself. I'm yet to find a reason why you might want to apply a mask to your freeze. Yeah, not entirely sure, but I'm sure if you have a play around with it and you find a use for that, do let us know. I'd love to know how you use this filter to create some incredible effects. And that's it, guys. That's basically it. You can also add a hotkey for show and hide, but in my honest opinion, if you add a hotkey for activate and deactivate, it basically does the same thing anyway, so I wouldn't recommend turning those on unless you find a reason to. And that is the freeze filter. Very good at creating extremely fun moments for your fans to enjoy and holding on to those for a certain amount of time and keeping them on screen.